First, fair, accurate. From our newsrooms in Eugene, Roseburg, and Coos Bay, Kval News starts now.
An Amtrak passenger train Snowbound near Oakridge since Sunday night finally returns today to civilization and some welcome food and water in Eugene. Good evening. I'm Jackie Garrity. Thanks for joining us tonight. Kval's Tom Adams is here in the studio with stories from passengers who were thankful to get off the Snow Express. Tom?
Jackie, after about 36 to 37 hours, snowbound near Oakridge, relief finally came early this morning for the nearly 200 passengers aboard the Coast Starlight. Union Pacific crews worked overnight to clear the tracks, and they sent a freight train locomotive to the rescue.
The Amtrak train, stranded about 40 miles southeast of Eugene for a day and a half, finally made it back to civilization late Tuesday morning. Patience, though, was starting to run out.
Nobody can get a cigarette break for 17 hours. 17!
Along with food and many other essentials.
We were on the sleeper carts, so we always had food. Until today, there's been no food or anything today.
The train hitched a ride from a Union Pacific freight locomotive. This after UP crews worked all through the night to clear the tracks. Passengers were clearly relieved to get off.
Feels great. I mean, I don't care that I'm freezing right now. I just feel good to be off that train. It was hot and stuffy.
A lot of mixed emotions, a lot of unsurety. Amtrak really wasn't very communicative.
Amtrak officials on Sunday night decided to keep the passengers on board instead of letting them off in Oakridge, which only had small hotels open for lodging. While some passengers gave Amtrak brickbats, others were set to hand out bouquets.
A cafe man named James really kept everyone's spirit up. He's really nice and kind of kept everyone not from freaking out.
Many others took the long, unscheduled stop with a good sense of humor.
Tried to start watching a movie that I downloaded, and that didn't go over very well.
And inside the Eugene Depot, American Red Cross volunteers handed out healthy doses of good cheer and refreshments for hungry passengers.
Well, we heard several stories about staffers on the Amtrak train going beyond the call of duty in their service. One story stands out in particular.
It turns out it might have been the same crew member that Hernandez mentioned to us, this fellow named James.
His name is James, and he made diapers for the little kids that had no diapers.
How was the train ride, honey?
Good.
In the end, good cheer and optimism won the day on the Starlight.
Did the best we could to pass the time, and everybody stayed very positive and was very helpful and, shared what they didn't have with each other, and basically family now.
A family thrown together under very tough circumstances.
And today's slow-motion toll ride from Oakridge to Eugene took about 4 hours. None of the 183 passengers or crew members were injured. Jackie?
Tom, thank you. We're glad they all made it back safe. Well, thousands are still without power tonight after the snowstorm left many wondering how long they'll have to wait. Well, Kval's Kelsey Christensen is joining us live. She is in a neighborhood without power still tonight. Kelsey, what's the latest?
That's right. Crews are working to restore power, but say it still may be a few more days because crews say the damage is widespread and extensive.
I'm hoping it just burns through that limb. Yeah.
This tree fell at the wrong place at the wrong time. It broke the transmission line that feeds power to many homes and businesses in the McKenzie area off Highway 126.
It's going to be a slow restoration because replacing those big transmission lines takes time.
Joe Harwood with the Eugene Water and Electric Board, better known as EWEB, says crews are working to restore power. But it could take a few more days before homes get power again.
And once we get those transmission lines repaired, then we can go down to the smaller distribution lines that feed houses and stuff.
This is one example of many. Trees falling on power lines because of the heavy snow caused more than 14,000 EWEB customers to lose power on Monday, most of that taking place in the valley.
Well, the power went out at 7:30 a.m. yesterday, and we actually have heat that's electric, so we've been really cold in there.
Harwood says crews have been working around the clock to assess damage and restore power. On Tuesday, nearly half of the homes without power were restored, bringing the number down to 7,600 eWeb customers without power, making progress in South and Southeast Eugene and River Road area. Lane Electric and Emerald People's Utility District also say crews are working to restore widespread power outages. These repairs could take up to a week. Harwood says if you still don't have power, make sure to keep your thermostat low or off so that once the power does come back on, that it won't be overloaded. Back to you.
Kelsey, thank you. Lots of good information there. Well, a live look right now outside as our area braces for another round of snow. Our chief meteorologist, Travis Knutson, is joining us from the Weather Center. And Travis, please tell me we don't have another foot of snow on the way.
Well, we don't have another foot of snow on the way, but we do have a couple of inches by the time we reach tomorrow morning. There's another little push of moisture that'll move on in, and so as a result, we have some wintertime warnings and advisories around the region. A winter weather advisory in that bluish purple color for lower elevations, which does include the Willamette Valley. That's in effect until 6 p.m. tomorrow because of a couple of inches of snow that will fall overnight tonight. The pink down across Douglas County, that's a winter storm warning, which is a little bit of a bigger deal than advisory. That's in effect till 10 a.m. tomorrow, where snow will be a thing. Higher elevations above about 1,000 feet, probably seeing about 4 to 8 inches of snowfall. Down in the valleys, it'll be less than that. But here's a look at the current satellite overhead. You can kind of see a green little bullseye right over the southern Willamette. That will fill in. The rain showers there in green will turn over to blue as we see our way progress through the night. Temperatures right around that freezing mark, enough to see snow basically everywhere. And we will be watching the snow as it works its way from the south to the north, but it clears out fairly quickly, which will limit how much snow we see at the valley floor. I'll give you a look at those totals coming up in just a few minutes. Jackie?
Travis, thank you. Monday's historic snowfall has left many roads anywhere from snowy to downright impassable. Crews have been working around the clock trying to clear those roads. Kval's Stephanie Rothman has our latest update.
It's been wonderful to look at, hard to get around.
Carol James of Eugene echoes sentiments around town in neighborhoods where roads haven't been plowed, making it difficult to travel.
Hard in some areas, easier in others, but the traffic has really helped in packing the snow down.
Roads in the valley have been blanketed in snow, with crews from the city of Eugene and ODOT working around the clock to clear them.
It's been a real project to get all the roads passable in and around the Eugene-Springfield area, but I think we've made quite a bit of progress.
Torres says ODOT crews have cleared most of the major highways, moving more than 200 trees on Oregon 58. Utility crews are getting supplies through to Oak Ridge, but Highway 58 is still closed off to the public. Eugene has crews ranging from snowplow trucks to sidewalk shovelers, with the city of Springfield sanding and waiting for the snow to melt, as they don't own any plows.
Our priorities right now are to continue to clear trees out of the rights of way, and our priority 3 snow routes.
Level 1 and 2 routes include major roads, with level 3 being smaller roads that are harder to get to, like the South Hills.
This will probably be the toughest part because it's a neighborhood street, and obviously there's more important streets to get cleared off, but we've got 4-wheel drive and we're just going to venture out.
Gerard says crews will be staying on snow, ice, and tree removal over the next few days before moving to debris pickup later on.
I've lived here for a long, long time, and as long as you're on the flatlands and drive slow, you're doing pretty good. So I'm not too worried about the streets here.
Streets that will hopefully be fully cleared in the coming days. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Stephanie Rothman.
Crews will be working overnight checking bridge decks and ramps for black ice, as low temperatures will refreeze any leftover snow on the ground. For any new information on road closures or work, we will be bringing you updates here and on our website at kval.com. Well, new at 6 tonight, voters in Lane County will get to decide if they want to support tax bonds and build a new county justice center. County commissioners voted 5-0 this morning to get the bond issue on the May 21st ballot. The county wants to build the $252 million project at the former Eugene City Hall lot that the county now owns. And we're expecting another freezing night tonight. And for those without housing, there's the question of where they'll be sleeping. Kval's Alex Hostentop shows us how one woman braved the cold and some of the other obstacles the homeless people are facing as they seek shelter on the snowy nights.
Laurel Schur is working quickly to rebuild her tent before her hands get stiff in the cold temperatures. Her only shelter from the snow collapsed.
I woke up yesterday with snow on my tent and the tent down like right on top of my face.
She's one of many people in Eugene sleeping outside despite freezing temperatures and a foot of snow. But she insists she's staying warm since her shelter is permanent and insulated.
I couldn't freeze to death in that bag. It's a surplus one.
Still, she was hoping to warm up and get a hot meal at one of the Egan warming centers last night. The problem was getting there.
The buses aren't running, and my bike is frozen up. I can't go anywhere until it gets thawed.
And this issue also plagued the centers themselves. Director Pete Kern says their volunteers were spread thin on Monday.
When the roads are impassable, there are fewer volunteers who can help us.
But it didn't stop the centers from sheltering over 400 people last night, their busiest one of the year so far.
They pulled it off. It was pretty impressive.
And while the mission is taking more than 400 people and the new Dawn site over 200, Kern says it's not enough space for everyone.
Yeah, that's over 1,000 people that are living on the street that we know of, and I'm sure there's some who stayed outside.
Schur says the shelters aren't as appealing to people with certain mental challenges like PTSD.
They can't even tolerate a minute of a crowded place. I have a hard time with it myself.
But she appreciates the available shelters and hopes to see more in the future. Although tonight, Laurel is sleeping outside in her tent. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Alex Hassenstab.
The Egan Warming Center is in dire need of volunteers. We have more information about how you can get involved at kval.com. And still ahead on Kval News, top drug executives had to answer on Capitol Hill today for rising pharmaceutical costs. We'll hear what they had to say.